In Washington, D.C. Chaos continues to rage in liberal cities across the country. In Seattle, home of the short-lived CHOP zone that saw multiple shootings that resulted in the deaths of 2 young men, the city council appears to be prepared to defund the police by 50%. And New York City announced that compared to last year, the month of June 2020 saw a 130% increase in shootings. 130%. And one store owner there is suing Governor Andrew Cuomo over looting damage and says police were told to stand down. But don't worry, New York City Mayor Bill DeBlasio has banned all large gatherings in the city, except for protests and riots, of course. Take a look.
What about protests? If people want to march down Fifth Avenue, are they going to be allowed to do so?
Look, Wolf, this is always an area of real sensitivity. If you're just talking about health, we would always say, hey, folks, stay home if you can. But we understand at this moment in history, people are talking about the need for historic changes. I mean, today in New York City, recognizing the power and the meaning of the message Black Lives Matter, which we did in front of Trump Tower today, this is a historic moment of change. We have to respect that, but also say to people, the kinds of gatherings we're used to, the parades, the fairs, we just can't have that while we're focusing on health right now.
Joining us now is former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. When you hear Mayor Bill DeBlasio say those things and take that position, what runs through your mind?
What runs through my mind is before this, I thought he was the worst mayor in the history of the city. And now he will have written that like a headline in history. Just think of the contradiction. I mean, everybody else can't march. We have to wear masks. We have to separate ourselves. But if you're protesting, you can stand together. You can spit in each other's face. You can hug. You can squeeze. And you're not going to get COVID-19. And their phony political party wants us to believe that this is based on science. Science? It's based on political phoniness. Also, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is an organization run by 3 Marxists and financed by a convicted terrorist, who I happen to have convicted, who got 58 years in jail and got a corrupt pardon from Bill Clinton. This is not a benign organization. I can't say yet that we could prove it's a terrorist organization. It's certainly a violent organization. And I believe in the course of time it will be shown to be a terrorist organization. But one of the primary persons, Susan Rosenberg, who handles their finances, is a convicted terrorist who was involved with the Black Panthers, who used to slaughter police officers. And if you read what she's written, she's not terribly far from where she used to be. And if you read what those other women have written, that whites are horrible, whites are horrendous, whites shouldn't be allowed to have equal rights, they are a racist organization. They are actually participating in hate speech, and this man, because he went to Cuba on his honeymoon and he fought for the Sandinistas. I mean, this man is we always thought he was a communist, but I think he wants to prove it to us.
Now, Mr. Mayor, New York City used to be a great place for families, for business. What you did with Bernie Kerik and others in reducing crime.
I worked really hard.
Yeah. But what's happened to the city?
Back to the way it was under the... we have a Democrat mayor. We could say the same thing about Chicago or Philadelphia, can't we? Chicago is the only city that now has more murders than us. Democrat mayor for 1,000 years,
But is it just... But in New York, is it just Bill DeBlasio, or what else is going on there? Is it just the mayor taking these radical positions?
No, he's got a city council that, has fell off the left cliff and is totally insane. I mean, they pass bills that are ridiculous. I mean, the man released 8,000 people, prisoners. He and Cuomo passed a bill that you can't hold people you arrest in jail. The police are completely demoralized. Today, he issued a block-by-block crime reduction program in which he didn't even talk to the police department. And the police department's comment on it was no comment. So we've got a mayor who is alienated from the police department, not to mention for other reasons the governor hates him. And then he's putting Black Lives Matter in front of the president's personal residence. The president he wants to go to help bail out New York. Now, among other things, not only is he a communist, but he's a stupid one. And the man should be removed by the governor. He should have been removed some time ago. And I believe there's no doubt that his incompetence has cost us many, many lives. His ridiculous decisions, his laziness, he doesn't come to work. He's a half hour, an hour and a half late for everything. There's a lot of suspicions as to why, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Well, this is, Mr. Mayor.
This man has, in about 5 weeks, destroyed 20 years of work of mine and Mike Bloomberg and Ray Kelly and Bernie Kerik and Howard Safir and Bill Bratton. I mean, we went in 2 years when I was mayor from the most dangerous city in America to the safest large city in America, and we remained that way until this idiot came along.
Well, Mr. Mayor, the proof is in the numbers. June of 2020 represented over June of 2019 a 130% increase in shootings in New York City, and it doesn't need to be this way. Mr. Mayor, I wish I had more time with you. I thank you for joining us here tonight on Hannity. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, up next, CNN was called out by former staffers, including an ex-producer slamming the network for a lack of self-awareness in the Trump era. Joe Concha, Larry Elder, and Leo Terrell will react. And then the president's call to reopen schools